The following episode may contain references to Formula One controversies, both past and present. Viewer discretion is advised.
Why do we always start these episodes with a moment of silence?
So I can do the noise cancellation in the background.
That was a joke, Andy.
Ah.
Would you like me to
Why do we always start these episodes with a moment of silence?
Is it because we're mourning any hope of interesting championship happening this year? I don't know. I like it because you start with a fake laugh and then you understood the joke and you start laughing honestly. I appreciate this.
that was an entirely real laugh. I don't know what you're talking about. I understood everything you said. Anyway.
You understood, and also you're Andy, I'm Alex. We don't have idea for Cold Open, and this is Times Deleted.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I think 3 episodes in, and we've run out of the ideas for Cold Opens. I think I had something, but race happened. I'm drinking Guinness, so we are around St. Patrick's Day, and as you may know, the race was
over a week ago.
There were other races that we were involved with that happened since. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
But we're not going to cover them because
we don't have the coverage. And also one of them made you very angry.
I'm calm now. Shall we just jump into this?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's not kid ourselves. There is a slight increase in interesting things to talk about. But let's not kid ourselves. It's still rather...
It's still...
One thing that returned to normal was Lance Stroll, who was, praised after the first race of the season.
Yeah, that was a bold move from us, and we immediately
not only from us, everyone. I mean, it was Lance Stroll. Last at the start of lap 1, I think. Made it the points. Compromise strategy, clean race. Well, the race wasn't clean. He was tagged, I think, by someone in turn 1, Magnussen. And then he drove a decent race. But the second the walls aren't 20 meters away from the track, Lance Stroll does what Lance Stroll tends to do.
At least they didn't cut away from the action to show us. Well, that was the action.
Yeah, so. that was what was happening, at least, and he was featured in the broadcast for other reason that TV director being inept. Can we say inept?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's a personal opinion. You can say that.
Lance Stroll crashed, and it was why. I mean, I know why he did that. We know why he did that, but I think his streak of any goodwill he earned.
He immediately left on the apex of turn whatever number that was.
One of the many turns, all of the same.
The few little the crumbly bits that remained, he chucked into the wall on the other side. So.
Well. Yeah, very good Lance Stroll. I don't have patience to talk more about him. I'm sure there are people more.
He's not a rookie. He knows what he should know.
He's not a rookie.
He should know what he's doing.
You know what I'm gonna do after record? I'm going to make a nice little graphic, and I think I looked it up. And if it's wrong, we'll cut this out because I think he is in the upper half of the grid in terms of experience.
Yeah,
it seems about right, doesn't it?
And it's weird. People, I keep seeing it being posted on various subreddits of the fact that Lance Stroll absolutely kicked the shit out of many drivers, including George Russell in the F3 Championship.
Oh yeah,
he absolutely dominated him.
Bizarre. I mean, we'll get to Junior Series in a bit because there is a bit of a development. But
there is, or was, should we say?
Yeah. So it's not like he can't drive. It's more like, oh, why is he on the grid? That's Lance Stroll, slightly higher up the standings. Speaking of people who scored 1 point, Stroll did it the weekend before, and has realized that maybe the key to success is sacrificing one of the drivers, or to be slightly more precise, to have one driver absolutely destroy his own race in many ways possible, because what Kevin Magnussen ended up doing is just rake up as many. It was basically Esteban Ocon in Bahrain last year. He got every single, maybe not every single, but he got quite a plethora of penalties. And they just raised, we can use them as a cork in the bottle and just hold everyone up because Haas's are very slippery. They are slippery bastards. Is that a proprietary phrase, slippery bastards? I think like
it must be, yeah.
Okay.
But that'll be in the patent list somewhere.
Okay. Well, Haas's are very quick
car.
in the straight line. And we've known this. This is apparently the only characteristic they have. And also, they have someone who's got more than half a brain in a pit wall. Yeah, they can use Magnussen to basically hold everyone back up. And Hulk ended up in 10th, 11 seconds ahead of Albon. And Albon might have had a fighting chance had it not been for Magnussen, who was just playing an entirely different game. And the game wasn't go fast. The game was make my teammate By the way, he must like now to help him score singular point.
Singular point.
And we know margins can be slim at the bottom. They are edging ahead of likes like Alpine and Williams, so they are setting themselves apart from that crowd.
Mm-hmm. They were truly playing some 4D chess.
Speaking of cars and their straight line speed,
Oh dear. Well, actually,
it was painful.
say that.
It was painful. It was annoying and painful. Piastri ending on P4 is a brilliant result.
Brilliant result. Can't argue with that. P4.
This is roughly where the car is. Okay, with one Ferrari driver being... Well, we're going to get to that in just a second. But again, McLaren are saying, upgrades are coming. And I said it before, I say it again. Have you ever considered starting the season already upgraded? Like, you don't have to go through the motions every single time. It's like,
they kind of have. It's just, again, it's still a bit draggy, which is the McLaren problem.
It was the same power unit. Sure, Hamilton more experienced, but I'm gonna say something. If you're faster, I mean, on the straight line, yeah, sure, experience helps to make moves, but at the end of the day, after 5-10 laps of following someone down the straight and being in technically a car that's supposedly faster, like, you're supposed to overtake them. And Piastri DRS wide open, or maybe not even that wide open. It was painful thing. And God knows if Hamilton have to pit, they could have gone for a long time. So it kind of compromised him. He ended up 13 seconds behind Leclerc. Can't tell you how many of those seconds he lost behind Hamilton.
No, that's an impossible metric. But
so yeah, okay. Red Bull's at the front. No surprise there. Ferrari's up there, but apparently McLaren now being P3 in championship. McLaren being third fastest car. Lando, as per usual, kind of not on the optimal strategy. Because he didn't pit on the safety car.
Yeah.
So
that again, why didn't they do that?
This is what you splitting strategies as a overarching theme, hoping for on the safety car. It's not a bad bet in Soli to hope for a later safety car.
It was a bad bet this time though. Spoiler alert, one safety car.
We would have to go back and see if they were close. If maybe they were too close to actually pull a double stack. But on a safety car,
might have been. But then again, under a safety car, that kind of double stack's probably worth it because say you're losing a couple of extra seconds in the pit stop, but you're gaining 10 at least.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, again, the people making this in the pit wall, they know more than we do. Obviously,
you would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it wasn't. It was a risky thing to make him stay, and he was leading the race. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Verstappen did not lead every single lap. We have to appreciate good things for what they are. Max Verstappen didn't lead every single lap of the race. That's the benchmark that we'll dealing with this season. So that's thanks to Lando staying out. There you go.
Hey, there we go. If there's one positive you can take away from it was that.
Also, I am pretty sure it's the first time since Carlos Sainz's stint in McLaren since Lando is behind his teammate in Drivers' Championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which again, after two races isn't a cause for alarm or it's just a funny tidbit. I just find it slightly fascinating.
Which is hilarious considering one of the teammates in the meantime has been Daniel Riccardo.
Eight-time Grand Prix winner Daniel Riccardo. Would you like... Okay, we can skip to Red Bull. We can go back to the meat and potatoes in just a second. Would you like to talk about your favorite driver and homeboy as we are nearing the Australian Grand Prix?
Oh, my favorite driver, Danny Rick.
Is that Australian accent? I can't do accents.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, yeah, you say mate, so yeah, I get that.
As famously love Danny Rick. He can do no wrong in the eyes of so many people, including me. Sarcasm is positively dripping off me right now. Yeah, he's banned. Lap 48. I don't think anyone got past him because he had a bit of a gap behind him.
He actually ended up 10 seconds behind his teammates, 2 seconds behind Bottas. So had he taken slightly longer to recover from said spin, maybe Bottas and Zhou wouldn't be the two last guys on the track. Also, the last 4 positions very neatly stacked because 17, 18, Stake, F1, Team Kick, Sauber, B&Q, Paribas, American Airlines, Balenciaga, Sauber. They both have ridiculously long names and they're both like redundant and silly. That's the thing. Okay, I was gonna say
it's for money teams.
Okay, you know what? Because in 14, if it was Sargent, let's say Williams Racing is a very neat, very clean name for racing teams. I don't think that's necessarily the indication.
That's true of the legacy teams. You got Ferrari, Scuderia Ferrari, McLaren Racing,
McLaren Formula F1 team.
Yeah, okay, it's
It's a mouth.
And then Williams Racing, pretty succinct.
Anyway, Danny Rick is washed.
Yeah, washed, absolutely washed. He has been in the wash so many times. He's come out, he's all pruny and wrinkly.
And shrunk.
Not quite as much as Tsunoda though, but there you go.
How tall is Liam Lawson?
I don't know. I feel like you would know that.
I don't. Elaborate on that.
No.
I'm going to Google this. He's 5 centimeters shorter than Danny Rick. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know this season has finished, but Google is brilliant because it not only they showed me Liam Lawson's height, they showed me height of Daniel Riccardo and Yuki Tsunoda and Nick De Vries. Would you?
Oh, all of the.
Would you like to stuck them?
Ex-Alpha Tauri drivers.
Yes. Would you like to stuck them?
It's gonna be, I think, Danny Rick tallest.
Yes.
Then possibly Nick De Vries.
No.
Oh, so it's Liam Lawson.
Yes.
Then Nick De Vries.
Well, yeah.
Then Yuki Tsunoda.
179 centimeters Danny Rick, 5 centimeters less Liam Lawson. Nick De Vries is 167, Yuki is 161.
Hey, that's something. I would be the second tallest Alpha Tauri / Visa Cash App Red Bull driver.
Give them a call. Helmut Marko is awaiting.
Hey.
Helmut Marko is fielding applications.
Hey, Helmut, how's it going?
Helmut, would you like me to show you how to use WhatsApp? We'll get to that in a second. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent about how tall were AlphaTauri drivers. Red Bull, 13 seconds between Max and Sergio, another 5-ish seconds to Charles. I don't know if that necessarily counts for closing the gap. We had a safety car pretty early though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fairly early safety car, but I don't know. I think the problem is he's so far ahead. He's pace managing. Yeah, because he can. At this point, we truly don't know how fast that car is. Because we've had 2 races where he's cruised off into the distance and just sort of
They barely show him even.
Just taking it easy.
The only time he was actually on the screen was when he was overtaking Lando technically for the lead of the race. Had there been a red flag and abandoned race, sure.
Actually, you know what was strange? One of the colour settings on the cameras was wrong. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the McLaren looked very red.
Embarrassed because he couldn't get past Lewis Hamilton. Was it Piastri?
No, it was when he was overtaking Lando.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Max overtook Lando, it was on the corner it was on the outside of T2.
Although, to be fair, I know again, I'm not trying to grasp at straw, so just copium. But for a second there, Lando actually managed to necessarily stick with Max, let's be honest. But Max didn't exactly fucked off into the distance straight away. It took him more than one lap to overtake Lando.
Sure.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely desperate.
Let's just adjust the dial. There we go. Massive hit of hopium there.
Red Bull has now more wins than Williams, speaking of legacy teams.
Yes. Yeah. Legacy teams. Red Bull has more wins than Williams, 114 to 113. But that honestly didn't surprise me. The part that did surprise me was the part you've added to that in the script.
Yes, you can unveil the truth.
Which is that the modern Mercedes team, we're not counting the Mercedes team from the 50s, they're an entirely different team. Modern Mercedes has 116 Grand Prix wins. Here it comes.
Yeah, it's gonna happen sooner or later. Sorry,
Toto's on Wikipedia saying, no, the Mercedes team from the 50s was absolutely the same as us. Please don't take away our record. Actually, which team has the highest record of all-time Grand Prix wins?
Ferrari.
Do we know?
Literally looking at this right now.
I would say Ferrari by quite a bit, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 243. Next one is...
Wowzer, yeah.
Next one is McLaren, 183.
That's gonna be another
3 seasons.
4 or 5 seasons of Max. Yeah.
I was going to make some say, oh no, if it's still so dreadful after reg changes, I'm not gonna be watching. I'll be watching. Although Mercedes has an impressive stat because they won 125 races, including the ones in the 50s, out of less than 300 starts, that gives a winning percentage of over 40%.
Ooh.
Which is a Red Bull has only 31, although it took them a while to get started.
Yeah, they had a big gap in the middle as well. Because they got started, they were kind of not all there. Then we went to the Seb Vettel years. Then there was a big gap, and now we're in the Verstappen years.
I'm going to pause you because I'm trying to find information of how many wins each driver in Red Bull. And I know where to find it, but I need to find it.
I know where most of the Mercedes wins came from.
Was it Nico Rosberg?
Yeah! In equal machinery, no less.
Driver starts. I want most wins for the same team. That's what the stat that interests me. Look, the first few stars in Wiki on that list of Formula 1 driver records is total wins. Okay, that's not max yet. Percentage wins. Oh, that's actually Fangio. Fangio, Ascari, Jim Clark, Hamilton. That is actually interesting because Hamilton won 30.8% of his starts. And Max has won 29.95%.
Oh, he's coming for all your records, man.
I think 2 more wins. If they're going consecutive, I think 1 or 2 is going to make it. I don't want to do maths. Right. Most wins without the World Championship. There are 2. I think we've been over this. There are 2 drivers on the list who are still on the grid in top 10. How many wins without winning a championship? We can cut this, but this is
an interesting fact. Currently on the grid.
Yeah.
Without winning a championship.
Those numbers aren't that big.
It's going to be Valtteri Bottas.
Yes, 10 wins. And he's number 6 on the list. Alongside Ronnie Peterson and Gerhard Berger.
How nice. And Daniel Riccardo.
Yeah. I mean, because we talked about 8 wins.
Because we talked about how he said 8 wins. Yeah, that tipped me off a little bit.
So, from 115 wins that Red Bull had so far, and let's be honest, there's going to be more. 56 of those is Max, so almost half. 38 was Sebastian Vettel, so basically 2 champions just, go and get it. And the rest of them is just here and there. Mark Webber 9. What was it? Multi 25?
Multi 25 said. Multi 25.
Daniel Rick 7 and sorry.
No, multi 21. Sorry.
I wasn't watching at the time, so I can make numbers up.
No, it was multi 21. Seb. Yeah, that's it.
It's whatever it is, it's more than whatever the number is, it's more than Mark Webber wins in Red Bull.
Nice.
Yeah, Daniel Rick and Sergio Perez 7-5. I don't know. I think all the other teams that we've mentioned that are near them in the total count, like Mercedes. Okay, no. How many drivers won for Mercedes?
Not that many. I think, didn't you?
Bottas, Hamilton, Russell.
Oh, Bottas, Hamilton, Russell. Okay.
Rosberg.
Schumacher.
Schumacher didn't win for Mercedes.
No, did he not win for Mercedes?
He only got a podium, I think.
All right, and then that's it for modern Mercedes, I think.
The last win Schumacher did was 2006.
There you go.
Apparently, 2 biggest teams of the recent F1 history have all their wins split, have almost the same number of wins, and they're all split among a handful of drivers. No, that point doesn't make sense. They only had a handful of drivers. None of this makes any sense. I'm very angry with myself. Carlos Sainz, or more appropriately, the lack of Carlos Sainz. Yes, Carlos. You can make a joke about
Carlos. Is this Carlos?
This is a horrible joke. He was not very well, and then he was so unwell, he ended up having his appendix removed, which apparently...
That does tend to happen when your appendix decides to go boom.
Kimi Antonelli, like before the season started, or around when Lewis announced his trip to Italy, or his move to Italy.
Yeah, his retirement to Italy.
His retirement to the south of Europe. It's not Benidorm, though. So, Kimi Antonelli, everyone was talking about him after Lewis announced his retirement move trip to Italy, and ooh, I wonder how well he's going to he'll be how well he's gonna go in F2, because that basically will decide Mercedes' future. And he didn't do very well in the first round of Bahrain. He did moderately better in the feature race. He ended up 6th, and in the sprint race he was also 6th. Good going. Although he qualified 5th for both, so I mean,
Super GT would be proud.
No, sorry, I lied. He qualified 6th. No, he was 5th on the grid. He was 5th on the grid because Oliver Behrman. You can leave all those happy ramblings, because now we, as people who, I'm gonna use the big word here, cover this, we have to now sort of keep track of 2 F1 drivers. And the other one is a boy from the town that I have visited, and it doesn't look like it's capable of producing racing drivers. Oliver Behrman, which, by the way, I didn't know he's British, because Oliver Behrman is weirdly, he could be German with that last name, to be honest. It's not uniquely British. It's not like based...
No, like you put 2 N's on the end. That's a very German name.
Oh yeah, I think, because obviously I've heard it before actually singing it. I was like, oh yeah. He gets a call, very, very late call on a Friday, because that was the quali day. Hey, would you like to drive F1 car? And he was like, well,
heard you qualified pole. How about that F1 seat?
And as any person with a super license and any desire to make it in F1, and anyone who would like a chance to prove themselves, he said yes. I don't think
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone would ever refuse this. I don't think any of those kids would be like...
No, actually, if he went, actually, I qualified pole in F2, so I think I'm going to do the F2 race instead.
I think he would absolutely be considered an idiot. Although, we were talking about we spoke about Liam Lawson doing terrific job on a very difficult street circuit last year. This is not an easy circuit. It's very easy to...
This is arguably one of the most challenging circuits on the calendar.
Yes, you have experienced drivers like Lance Stroll just making...
Chucking it into the wall.
How
Again,
did
you
that
said
happen
the word
to him?
experienced drivers, and you've said Lance Stroll. We should qualify that. He has been in F1 for a while.
Watching him drive is an experience. I think that's the best way to... That's the best way to describe this. So Oliver Behrman jumps in for FP3, presumably gets confused, because you think about all this stuff and like he's never done like a proper hot pit stop in an F1 car, because that's not a thing outside of F1. And he almost makes it into Q3, and I think that was a very tall order for him. Who made it?
How much did he drive the car for in FP3? Like, I imagine he used the most out of that session, but
he did 22 laps. It's marginally more.
Laps.
Bottas did 21, but Max did 13, Leclerc did 16. It's slightly more.
You might argue that's probably the most he could get out of that session.
Yeah, because I guess there is no point just doing lap after lap after lap. It's not me doing karting after all.
And also, it's 1 minute 30-ish for sake of argument, average lap time. So just over half an hour, say 34 minutes, for sake of argument, 34, 35 minutes.
So he did 22 laps in FP3. He did 9 laps in Q1.
Really making the most out of Q1.
Including in and out laps.
Right, okay. So he did 3 hot laps.
Yeah. Well, he at least attempted. I don't have every single time he did, but...
Right, yeah.
And he missed out on Q3 he did 1:28.6, and actually he was knocked out by Lewis, who did 28.60, and Behrman missed out by 4 100ths.
4 100ths of a second away from Q3.
In his F1
debut F1 appearance.
On a circuit where walls are basically up your ass.
Yes, yeah.
That was already pretty good.
That was already a solid showing. I think Ferrari would have been very happy with what he'd already done to this point.
I think Ferrari were just pleased with him not absolutely slapping the car up the wall. That was the bare minimum. And they said it like, oh, what are the expectations? Yeah, we want him to finish the race. I mean, they obviously they didn't say it in the so disparaging way as I just did, but they were like, oh, like anything, if he manages to actually do the race again, bring
the
longer
car home
than
in one piece. Please do not fuck it into the nearest wall.
Points optional, and points did he score?
Oh yes, points did he score?
He ended up, ladies and gentlemen, P7 ahead of Lando Norris, again on the compromise strategy. There were 4 British...
Oh, he had to make excuses for Lando in that.
He was. It was 3 seconds behind him.
My Lando boy.
You are confusing me with someone once again. No, Lando had this whole fight with Lewis, and... Yeah, he had other stuff to worry about, because Lando ended up 1.6 seconds ahead of Lewis, and he was gaining on Behrman for a bit, but that ended up being 3 seconds to finish. 4 guys from the United Kingdom from P6 to P9. You don't get an anthem for that. We had to listen to Dutch anthem again. Amazing.
Again.
And we complain about there not being enough seats on the grid.
Validly, we complain about that.
I mean, everyone does.
Look at all this talent.
And
all this talent that's stuck in F2 and WEC and all the rest of them.
And we don't allow Andretti on the grid, and we keep people that shouldn't be on the grid. We're not going to name names. We are looking at a very interesting season, because we have people who've been waiting on silence for a while. Liam Lawson. Hopefully he will get a seat before he's 28 and he ends up being on Nick De Vries. I'm bringing Nick De Vries again because I did not watch that Monza when he did points in the Williams. However, the vibe was generally the same. Oh my god. A not random dude, but someone who just subbed in suddenly and did a very, very, very good job. Just give him a seat, and then he gets a seat. Maybe not the best one, definitely not the best one, because those AlphaTauris, they were absolutely sad for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
But still, he was doing even worse than the car allowed him.
Because, the Visa Cash App racing balls are doing so well at the start of this season.
I mean, there was improvement. By the end of the season, Yuki was solidly in the points, race in, race out. So
yeah, no, that's true.
And Nick De Vries didn't get to actually have a he didn't really have a chance to.
So he said Yuki was, one of the drivers was solidly in the points.
Yes. So I am, we don't follow F2 that closely, but we can name F2 in like reserve drivers. There are people who will be worthy of a seat and they might not get it for a while. Not even 2025, because God knows what's going to happen then. Again, we have 3/4 of a grid. By the way, speaking of people who shouldn't be on a grid, that was actually displayed. We didn't know it the last time we were recording, or the last time we spoke about expiring contracts. There has been somewhere in the meantime, there was a Lance Stroll contract renewal for 2025, which has been confirmed.
Oh, there you go. We all knew it, but
well, no, because
again.
I was hoping that maybe Aston Martin's foray into endurance would be something that Lance Stroll would be more interested in. No, apparently not.
Fair.
I'm sure he will deliver. He's he's amusing. Whatever happens, whatever he does, it's either, a good performance, we're surprised. So he says that's worth talking about. Or he just does something like crash on lap 5. Oli Berman, give him a seat. I'm afraid he might get something like Haas.
Yeah.
It's going to be a difficult transition. But yeah, absolutely stellar drive. Very smart, and he was learning as he went. Very happy for him. We were excited to see more of him on the grid. A lot from Essex. Finally, something good happened for someone from Essex.
Hey, the inventor of radio was from Essex.
Oh my god, yes! And if I have to hear about it one more time, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I also don't care.
I think that's the last bit on our.
Yes, more Red Bull stuff, because we got into the weeds last time, and this time the weeds have continued to grow.
Yeah, we are engulfed in weeds.
Mm-hmm. So many of the. Just when you think, this is all going to go away, as I'm sure Christian Horner would love it to do.
Yes.
It continues to not do that.
It continues to do quite. I don't know what's the opposite of not going away. Well, staying.
Yes, it has quite a bit of staying.
The
power,
answer
yes.
to the answer of should I stay or should I go? Should this stay or should this go? Is it should go, but it's still here. And I'm not saying that it should have been dismissed straight away. It's not like I'm bothered by the issue itself. I'm bothered by the longevity of this particular scandal. But
yes.
Okay,
the fact that it's taken so long to resolve, no matter how it's been resolved, is a difference. Because, yes, the accuser has filed a right to appeal.
I think you've missed one thing that happened before that person did that. They were suspended.
Did we not mention that?
I think it happened after our last recording.
If that mentioned after our last recording, that's important to mention. Yes, it's important to mention that the person who made the accusation has since been suspended by Red Bull.
Which in itself is
that was from the 7th of March.
It's a very confusing thing because in order to get penalized in a corporate environment for something like that, those reports would have to be false. Again, it's a contract, it's a corporation, it's a whole thing, but it's a punishment, or at least a don't come to work because we don't want you around for a bit kind of thing. You don't get suspended if you were right, or I can't wrap my head around it. And again, that's a human thing where you're trying to fill in the blanks in the story based on your understanding. But it was a confusing thing. And as you mentioned, then that person then filed an appeal effectively.
Has used her right of appeal, yes.
And I've seen, again, because if you scroll through social media, sometimes it just gives you the most boring and the most insane takes. Oh, he's already fired. Oh, he's not fired. Helmut Marko is moving to Alaska. People are just making shit up at this point, and all of this seems plausible, to some extent.
Incidentally, there is another article here. It says Helmut Marko has had a meeting with Red Bull executives. He has had a meeting with Red Bull's chief executive officer, and has said that he will continue on at Red Bull and that his contract has 3 years to run.
Oh my god, he was supposed to retire! What? I'm not saying he's right or wrong in the situation because it's a power struggle and I don't care. But Helmut, go retire. You have enough money to. For some reason, the president of Helmut Marko is something I also do not understand.
And you know what's hilarious is that apparently he has Max Verstappen to thank for that. That the whole thing about Verstappen threatening to leave and going to Mercedes was, according to this article, not around the whole Christian Horner thing, but around the possible letting go of Helmut Marko.
That doesn't make any sense.
The three-time world champion, No, the 3-time world champion has said on Friday after qualifying at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that Marko has to stay.
What is...
Marko has thanked Verstappen for his support in this matter.
What is the source of this?
A BBC Sport article.
160 quid a year. I mean, I'm sure it's true, but I wish they spent that money more wisely. Just give Solly Ellis Baxter just a primetime special, which he sings Murder on the Dance Floor for 5 hours.
Huh.
Oh my god. What? What's the point of Helmut?
What is the point of Helmut Marko?
What is the point of Helmut Marko?
Right, sorry, getting back on track.
No, I don't want to make a point, and I think we've made this.
Go ahead.
I think it's obvious and everyone knows. Like, there is stuff happening in the background that no one understands and no one cares. I mean, everyone seems to be invested in, but it has absolutely zero influence on the on-track action. Like, they could have, they can fire everyone. They're still going to win. They could, even worse, they could move the team to Enstone and they would still win. It's a confusing situation where apparently the kitchen is on fire, but aside from that, everything's fine.
And yet the steamed hams are fine.
Oh my god.
Aurora Borealis is erupting in the other room, but the steamed hams have already been served, and Verstappen's going to win another title, probably.
But do you remember that moment when they were slapped with the CFD and wind tunnel deduction because of breaching the cost cap? And the notion was like, it's going to affect them in the long term. Like, it's not going to instantly like cripple them. It will take a season. And you know what? It's been a long time since that came into force, and I am not sure it affected them at all.
No, not really. Oh, here we go. Apparently, in the matter of the Christian Horner case, apparently Honda has called for more details on the matter.
They have no stake in this.
They currently have a stake. They are currently in partnership with Red Bull Powertrains.
Oh, they didn't transfer that fully.
No, well, they're still working really closely with Honda up until the
Ford.
Up until the Ford. Even then, also, I think we mentioned it last week about Ford. Like, Ford are now being like, we need to look into this, people. Like, what's happening here?
But yeah, Honda has to leave because they're joining Aston Martin. The weirdest, again, also, that was quite convoluted. Yeah, oh my god, it's a mess, but it's a corporate mess.
It is a corporate mess.
Which, we used to have we used to have, I'm gonna sound like such a, we used to have like a proper scandals in F1, like Schumacher crashing into people, McLaren being fined $100 million that I don't think was reduced later, but that's not
Renault deliberately crashing their cars.
And it's Christian Horner, allegedly, because again, like, he's not... What was even the conclusion? Was the conclusion like, oh no, he didn't do this? Or was the conclusion, none of your business, we're not punishing him?
Okay. The official line, here it is, the official line. This is from Christian Horner. Yeah, so Horner said at last week's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the reality is that there was a grievance raised and it was dealt with in the most professional manner by the group that appointed an independent KC, one of the most reputable in the land, that's King's Counsel. He took time to investigate all the facts, he looked at everything, and he came to a conclusion where he dismissed the grievance. As far as I'm concerned, as far as Red Bull is concerned, we move on.
They should play that song from Chicago, I Just Move On. Sorry, it's a very gay reference. It was already doing my head in last time we were talking about this, and I can't make anything out of this. This is... Yeah, we'll be watching this, whether we like it or not. There are two things that are happening currently in F1. One of them is Max Verstappen is winning everything. If you are... This is a free piece of advice. I mean, it's not a professional advice. Please don't take it as such, because it's going to be gambling advice. But if you're playing some kind of F1 fantasy league kind of stuff, Max all the way, and...
Max, super Max, Red Bull, Max.
Yes. And the second thing is this old aftertaste of a scandal, or maybe or maybe whatever it is. We don't know.
Oh, sorry, just one more, before we really move on. There is an additional part to this.
Right.
Not only has she raised her right to appeal and will be obviously appealing the decision, she has also lodged an official complaint with the FIA about his behaviour.
Yes, and that is interesting because if FIA
that takes it out of Red Bull's hands a little bit.
If FIA is known for something, is that they are very consistent with their judgment. Because we forgot to talk about Lando's false start.
We did forget to talk about Lando's false start.
It was insane because the excuse
Lando's
is
not a false start as it is.
Everyone's seen it, and okay, there are two options. They either they either like let him they let him be because he didn't gain advance. He clearly lost time, but that's wrong because you still get. If you are running in free air and you start cutting corners, you will still end up getting 5-second time penalty or 10, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you're not penalized for the effect of your action.
No, but I think what it was is the sensor didn't pick him up.
But that means the regulations are insane because sensor isn't supposed to override our eyes. And again, I say this so supposed McLaren.
That is apparently the regulation. They go, computer says no.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Because again, you're not penalized. The point that was. You know, when you say the start of each episode, like we reference controversies past and present, you referenced Singapore 2008. I'm going to reference Silverstone 21 because the reason why Hamilton only got like 10 seconds for Cobb's crash is not
absolutely chucking Max into a wall.
It's not because the billion G's, like sure, whatever. Like it wasn't. Looking at the outcome of the crash, it didn't seem severe, but you were penalized for your action, not for the outcome.
Yeah,
Lando jumped the start and. If the regulation is sensor didn't pick it up, like someone made a good point somewhere online, like if then again it's a different thing because obviously it's measured in a different way, but if a speedometer whatever measures speed in the pit lane, if that fails, can you run at 200 kilometers per hour in a pit lane? If
I mean theoretically yes.
You want to chance it?
Theoretically yes.
So,
if the speed limiter detection breaks in the pit lane, then theoretically yes, you can drive whatever speed you want.
As much as a self-proclaimed McLaren fan I am as baffled by this as anyone. If in fact he didn't roll enough to actually trigger it, maybe there is that much of a margin. I think that's the general belief. Is like there is a slight margin for error in there, but he didn't move enough to activate the sensor to be like. Okay, so there is outcomes. They went easy on him because he didn't gain anything. That would be wrong. That
would be wrong. That's not allegedly what they did.
Or he didn't trigger the sensor didn't work. Then look at the tape and use the tape to determine that he jumped the start. Or sensor did work, but there is a very big margin because it was everyone's seen it. And if you look,
I think the third one is the official story.
But if
the sensor was working and it didn't detect Lando. And therefore he's all right.
Also, if you look at the tape, he is out of his grid box by the time he stops again. He was out of position. 5-second time. What do you get like 10 seconds for, or even stop and go for? Or like
I think it's a stop. It was just a drive through. It might be a stop go for a jump start. Yeah.
Someone did that last season.
Last season?
I think so. I think I've seen it recently. No, it was for incorrect starting position, and you get only 5 for that. I think. Yeah. So it is. I wish that had been dealt with better. Look, we don't have to talk about. We start with Aston Martin. I think we're finished, and we finished with McLaren. We don't have to talk about Red Bull at all. There's enough stuff going on.
Well, that's a shame because there's yet more stuff. To go back to the Red Bull thing, just to clarify the situation. So a complaint has been made to the FIA about Christian Horner's behaviour. There's actually been 2. One was made to the FIA Ethics and Compliant Hotline.
I think Hotline is kind of what Christian Horner has been accused of having, according to WhatsApp messages. Okay, have you actually
slightly inappropriate?
Anyway, 2 complaints.
And actually, I think mostly what we found out from those messages is that Christian Horner has absolutely
no game at all. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to.
That's a man who's been married for a long time.
Not long. They've been married like for 10 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty long time.
Okay, Andy, we're not experts on long-time relationships, are we?
No, that's true, we're not. Anyway, sorry. In a statement, the FIA has said, inquiries and complaints are received and managed by the compliance officer and ethics committee where appropriate. Both bodies operate autonomously, guaranteeing strict confidentiality throughout the process.
Yeah, it's something that isn't polished PR garbage. Is there anything concrete from that?
Let's see. Red Bull Racing spokesperson said it was not aware of a complaint and didn't want to comment further. So they just kind of got this jump lumped on them, apparently. Did we talk about the leaked messages last week?
I don't want to talk about them.
No, that's fair enough. There's nothing else that we haven't spoken about last week already.
Perfect. All right, Andy.
All right, yes. So that is in fact the end of that for now.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
How many times were deleted during Saudi Arabian Grand Prix between quali and the race?
I couldn't even begin to guess. I'm going to imagine it's quite a big number.
Try.
120.
You were off by 100.
Oh, really?
Just there were 4 in quali and 16 in the race.
Oh, was it that few? Wow.
Yeah, because usually if you exceed track limits, you do what Lance Stroll did.
Oh, that's true. Lots of walls around. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, I'm going to cut the corner. Oh no, my suspension is broken.
If you like in Monaco, if you go down the escape road and you have to like spin and go back on the track, does it count as? Do they delete your time or do they let you keep it for?
I don't know.
We'll have a chance to find out in May. Right, folks?
Oh, will we?
I am very slowly losing my mind over the entire Christian Horner thing.
You are both losing your sight and losing your mind.
Am I losing my sight?
Yes, and you wish somebody would tell you that you're fine. My name is Andy.
I'm Alex.
And this has been Times Deleted. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Post-scriptum, I do want to do an after credits thing. I'm going abroad. I'm going to be visiting some friends. Should I take my McLaren merch with me? Should I go to a pub wearing McLaren shirt?
Can I say, this is for the Australian Grand Prix, right?
Yes.
Do you know what time in the morning that will be?
Yes.
Are you going to wear your McLaren merch to a pub at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No, this is nothing. I'm not going to watch the race in the pub. I'm going to watch it in my hotel if I can get access to my Sky thingy on my phone.
Right, yeah.
But just hanging out in a F1 merch, is that weird? I've seen people walk the streets in the UK.
Yeah, people wear sports stuff all the time. Like, it's fine. It's no different than a football shirt.
Thank you. I will blame you for anything that happens after that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, if you get mugged because of Lando's jump start, then let me know.